Welcome back to another class on the treasures of Mishnayot. We are continuing in Masechet Berachot in Perek Bet Mishnah. The Kahat is going to give us a small introduction, and after that we're going to go straight into the Mishnah. La'achar shelamdanu b'Mishnah hakodemet. After we had learned in the previous Mishnah, שהאומנים עוסקים במלאכתם וקוראים שמע, that the workers were engaged in their work and they would recite the Shema. Ba Mishnatenu lahashmiya, came the Mishnah to teach us שהעוסק במצווה. Listen to these next 2 points, very important. שהעוסק במצווה, one who is engaged in a mitzvah, או הטרוד בטרדה של מצווה, or one who is preoccupied by a mitzvah concern, patur mikriyat shema. He is exempt from kriyat shema. You might be asking me a question, Rabbi, what's the chiddush? What's the novelty? We know the rule is osek b'mitzvah patur min a mitzvah. When you are engaged in a mitzvah, you are exempt from another mitzvah. Comes the kahat and he gives you, by the way, he's going to bring the Rambam. Comes and he tells you there's another way where you're going to be preoccupied with a mitzvah that you'll also be patur from kriyat shema. And which way is that? And that way he calls it hatarud b'tirda shel mitzvah. One who is preoccupied by a mitzvah concern. You're on your way to do a mitzvah. You're not doing the mitzvah. There's 2 things: being engaged in the mitzvah or going and about to do that mitzvah. So that's what he's telling you over here. Ha'osek, sha'osek b'mitzvah, o hatarut b'tirda shel mitzvah, patur mikriyat shema. Beautiful pshat, Rabotai. Rambam wants to explain, what does it mean, hatarut b'tirda shel mitzvah? What does that mean? So he says, shehaya libo tarut v'nechpaz ledvar mitzvah. He says a person's mind and emotions are preoccupied and they're hurried by being concerned for the responsibility of a mitzvah. It's not that he's doing it now. It's in his mind. He has to go to. He's thinking about to go and doing it. That's what Rabotai, he says. Shahaya libo tarud v'nechpaz. A person whose mind and emotions are preoccupied and hurried. Why? Due to the responsibility of a mitzvah. Because of the mitzvah, Rabotai, your mind is preoccupied and it's basically, it wants to go ahead and do the mitzvah. That's the way the Rambam wants to explain it. He tells you, really, you're going to be patur mikriyat shema. How do we know this, Rabotai? How do we know this? That whether you want to learn ha'osek b'mitzvah or whether if you want to learn hatarut b'tirda shel mitzvah, how do you know that I'm exempt from kriyat shema? Where are the verses? Where is the source from the Torah? It's not just to say something. To say, anybody could say, but where is the proof? Comes the Kahat and he says, Shenema, because it says in the verse, V'dibarta bam, and you should speak in them, meaning in words of Torah, B'shivtecha beveitecha, when you are sitting in your house, Uvlechtecha v'derech, when you are traveling on your way. Now, we're going to take those words and we're going to expound on them. V'yadarshu chachamim, and the chachamim expounded. What does it mean? B'shivtecha beveitecha. What does it mean when you are sitting in your house? Why does you have to say b'shivtecha beveitecha? So he says, Kisha'ata yoshev ve'osek bi'inyanei beitecha chayav ata likro. When you are sitting and you are engaged in things that have to do with your household, meaning business matters or anything that has to do with you, chayav ata likro. You have to stop everything and you have to go ahead and recite the Shema. Aval, however, im ata osek b'mitzvah. However, if you are preoccupied in the mitzvah, engaged in the mitzvah, ata patur mikriyat shema. You're going to be patur from kriyat shema. The fact that it says in the pasuk b'shivtecha beveitecha, when you are sitting in your house, things that have to do with your matters, then we're going to tell you you're obligated to recite Shema. Comes to exclude what? When it's the matters of mitzvah, we're going to tell you also here, that you're not going to be obligated in the reciting of the Shema. And so too, so too when it says in the pasuk, you should go on your way. What does it mean on your way? What does it mean? Over there where you saw b'shivtecha beveitecha, when you are sitting in your house. Over here, when you are going on your way. What is it? Everything about the person. So he says, B'halicha shelcha, in your walking, what does it mean? B'inyanecha, things that have to do with you, in your own matters. Ata chayav l'kro shema. If you are doing things that pertain to you, it's not a mitzvah, it's something that you're doing for yourself, you have to stop and you have to recite the Kriya Shema. Aval, however, b'halicha shel mitzvah ata patur. But if you were going to do a mitzvah, then we're going to tell you patur. That's how he wants to learn to read Rabotai. When you're going for yourself, basically, we're going to tell you stop, recite Shema. When you're going to do a mitzvah, we're going to tell you continue to go ahead and trying to get the mitzvah done, and you're not obligated in reciting Shema. Koloimer, meaning to say, Gam keshencha tarud b'iskecha, also when you are occupied in your own matters, b'iskecha shunim, in your own different matters, chayav ata lipanot mehem, you are obligated to free yourself from them, v'likro shema, and to recite the Kriya Shema. Aval, however, he says, kisha'ata tarud b'tirda shel mitzvah, but when you are preoccupied by a mitzvah concern, ata patur mikriya Shema, you are exempt from reciting the Shema. Vehu adin, he says, same halach is going to apply. Mitzvot acherot, you're also going to be patur from other mitzvot. Why? Sha'osek b'mitzvah patur min mitzvah, because one who is engaged in a mitzvah, he is exempt from other mitzvot. Now that we have that introduction, we can go ahead and try to see our Mishnah now. Chatan, a groom, shenasab bitullah, that he went and he married a virgin, patur mikri Shema balayla harishon. He is exempt from reciting the Kriya Shema on the first night, shel hanisuin, on the first night of marriage. Ad moti Shabbat. We're going to give him up until Saturday night. If you have a chatan, a groom that gets married to a virgin, we're going to tell him you are exempt from reciting the Kriya Shema until Saturday night. Sheken nohagim ayu lisa bitula biyom revi, because the custom was that the people would get married to a virgin on the fourth day of the week. Uba Mishna lelamudenu, and came the Mishnah to teach us, shechatan patur mikriya Shema, the chatan is exempt from the reciting of the Shema ad moti Shabbat, until Saturday night, ve'ad bichlal. And it's actually included, Mot Shabbat is included also where he's patur from reciting the Kriya Shema. Shehem arba'a leilot, because they are four, now you have 4 nights, because remember our night starts, right, so basically if you continue from the 4th day, so you have Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night. You have 4 nights that he's going to be exempt from going ahead and reciting the Kriya Shema. When are we going to give the Chatan this rule that he's exempt from reciting the Kriya Shema? That is specifically im lo asa ma'aseh. That is specifically if he did not go ahead and do the action. He didn't have relations with his wife yet. Im ad moti Shabbat, im ad moti Shabbat lo ba'al adain. If until Saturday night he didn't have relations with his wife still, we're going to tell him he is exempt from the mitzvah of Kriya Shema. Rabotai, you have to understand, right now he's worried, how is he going to be able to break the bitulim, how is he going to be able to break her virginity? That's what's on his mind. It's for the first time him, first time her. He's scared, worried, he's always thinking about what's going to be, how is it going to be. So the Chachamim said, listen, you're thinking about that mitzvah of going ahead and being with your wife? No problem. You pater from the other mitzvah of saying Shema. Yesh midayikim, there are those that they wanna be midayik, they wanna make an inference. She'ena patur ela bilelot. When it says over here that the Chatan is patur, the first night of marriage, until Mochi Shabbat, don't think it's morning and night, because remember you have two Kriyat Shema, one in the morning and one in the evening. Don't think it's both morning and night. No. Yesh midayikim, there are those that want to be midayik, she'ena patur ela bilalot, that he's only exempt from the night Shema. Dahainu, which means to say, mikriyat Shema shebe'arvit, from the reciting of the Shema in the evening. Aval, however, b'kriyat Shema shel shacharit, hu chayav. However, when it comes to reciting the Kriyat Shema in the morning, he's going to tell you he is obligated. Va'afilu b'yom harishon la'achar ha'chuppah. Even the first day after the chuppah, we're going to tell him he is obligated to go ahead and say the Kriyat Shema. Why? Very simple. Because we're going to tell him the mitzvah you should be with your wife is at night, not during the day. So really he's always preoccupied. When the nighttime comes, he starts thinking, okay, how am I going to be? How am I going to be? How am I going to perform? And so on and so forth. That's what we're going to tell him. Listen, if you're worried about that, you pater from the Kriyat Shema of the night. But the Kriyat Shema in the morning, since you're not sleeping with her, we're going to tell you go ahead and recite it because you're not busy in a mitzvah. He brings it down from Harabeinu Manoach, B'Shem Hara Avad. V'yesh shovrim, there are those that want to hold, shepatur bechlal mikriyat Shema. No. Who told you? When it says over here that the Chatan is patur from Kriyat Shema, from the when the Chatan is patur from Kriyat Shema at night, from the first day until Mochi Shabbat, if he didn't still have relations with her. One second. Who told you specifically only on the night he's patur? Maybe he's also patur for the morning Shema. Rabotai, you see what he's doing? This V'yesh Shovrim want to say, why are you only picking just because since he has the mitzvah to do it at night, so therefore he's only going to be occupied at night. That's why you want to exempt him from the night Shema. One second, but maybe during the day he's also worried about how he's going to perform at night. So go ahead, exempt him also during the day. That's what these rabbis want to learn, that he's actually exempt completely. When it says over here, Chatan, Patur b'Kriyat Shema b'Laila Harishon, when it says over here that the Chatan is exempt from reciting the Kriyat Shema on the first night until Mot Shabbat, including morning, night, morning, night, morning, night, morning, night, morning, night. Everything, he's not obligated at all until after Mot Shabbat. Continues the Kajan, he says like this, V'yesh shovrim shepatur bechlal mikriyat Shema. There are those that hold that he's exempt from Kriyat Shema altogether. Va'afilu b'shacharit, even in the morning Shema. Ad Mochi Shabbat, until Saturday night. Balaturim, he brings down the name of the Balaturim, the Tur, and also the Rambam. Continues the Kahat and he says, Aval mimochi Shabbat ve'el. However, from after Saturday night and on, the following day, Af api sha'adain lo asa masa. Even though he still didn't do an act, he still didn't have a relation with his wife, Hu chayav b'kriyat Shema. He's obligated in reciting the Shema. Why? Shekvar nitkarara da'ato. Already he cooled down. V'libo gasba. And he's familiar with her. Right? After trying all this time, he's like, okay, listen, all right, not going. All right. Basically, he's not as worried as he was. Vishuv ena tarut. And he's no longer preoccupied. He's no longer preoccupied. Oh, how am I going to put that? He's basically familiar with the situation. Now he knows that maybe tomorrow he's going to do better, so we're not going to, because you have to understand what happens. If you're not going to be able to be with her a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, what? Now we're going to tell him he's exempt? No. 4 nights, that's it. Maximum, we're going to give him 4 nights. That's enough time to become familiar with your wife. You didn't become familiar. After that, we're going to assume that you are familiar with her, and Bezrat Hashem, you're going to be able to be with her. And it's not a problem. You already cooled down. You're not so preoccupied if you're going to be able to perform or not, because you know how it goes, Rabotai. I'll give you an example. When a person does one time a sin, he feels bad. Feels horrible. Second time, not so bad. Third time, Same thing over here. First time, he's worried. Second time, he's a little bit less worried. Third time he's like, all right, okay, now, yes, no, whatever. He's not as uptight. Okay. Continues the Mishnah, the Qadi continues the Mishnah and he says, Ma'aseh beRam Gamliel. There was a story with Ram Gamliel. Shekara belayla harishon shenasa. Ram Gamliel, when he got married, he recited that same first night of his marriage, he recited Kriya Shema. Kara Shema belayla harishon shel chatunato. Ram Gamliel recited the Shema of the evening of his marriage. Amru lo talmidav, his students told him, LeRam Gamliel, to Ram Gamliel, Lo imidatanu Rabbeinu, didn't you teach us shechatan patur mikri shema balayla harishon? Our teacher, they said, didn't you teach us that a chatan, a groom, is exempt from reciting the Kriya Shema on the first night of marriage? So how did you go ahead and do it? Lama enecha noheg kimo shel midatanu. Why aren't you behaving like you taught us? Why are you going opposite of what you taught us? Amar lahem, Ram Gamliel said to his students, Ram Gamliel said to his students, Eini shomei lechem, I will not listen to you. Levatel memeni malchut shamayim, to nullify from me, to take away from me the yoke of heaven. Afilu zman mut, even a short period of time. Wait, I skipped 1 second. I apologize. I skipped. That was the content. 1 second. One more time. Amar lahem, Rabbi Gamliel said to his students, Any shomei lachem levatel memeni malchut shamayim. I'm not going to listen to you to that you should take away from me the yoke of heaven. Afilu sha'a achat, even for one moment. Comes the Qadi now explains what does that mean. Chumra ani noheg ba'atzmi. That stringency, I do it myself. Shelo levatel memeni o malchut shamayim afilu zman mu'at. That's what I was reading before. That I don't want to go ahead and take away from me the yoke of heaven, even a short amount of period of time. That's why he went ahead and he said Shema even after he got married on the first night of his marriage. Even though the Mishnah clearly says Chatan Patur. So why did Ram Gamliel do it? Ram Gamliel said, I didn't want that mitzvah of accepting all malchut shamayim be taken away from me, even for one small moment. Rabotai, with this we do conclude the Mishnah. However, there's a nice piece over here of the Kahati. He brings it down in the name of Hagaon Rav Chaim Mevulozin, but he heard it from Maran Unterman Shlita or Zatal. He says, I don't know if he's alive, not alive. But let's do this, Rabotai. Listen to what he says. Be'inyan teshuvato shel Ram Gamliel, regarding the answer that Ram Gamliel gave to his students when he said, Eini shomei lachem levatel mimeni v'chulu. I'm not going to listen to you to go ahead and take away from me the yoke of kingship, even for a short moment. What was Ram Gamliel telling them? So comes the Kahati and he says, Shamati hezber b'shem ha'gaon harav Chaim Mivolozin. He says, I heard a nice explanation in the name of Hagaon Harav Chaim Mivolozin. He says, Rabotai, listen to the difference between a Talmid Chacham, a Anak, Sheba Anakim. Look how they used to live with Hashem versus us. Rabotai, listen how sad this is. He says, Keragil, typically, Natun ha'adam be'ol asikav hayom yomayim. Typically, a person is preoccupied with the burden of his business daily tasks, umocho shakur tamid bi'inyanei chulin, and his mind is constantly sunk in secular matters. V'lachen, therefore, kishehu koreh Shema, when he recites Shema, or omed b'tefillah, or when he stands by tefillah, tzarichu lit'ametz me'od, he has to exert himself very much, kedei lehishticharer mimachshavot hacholin, in order to free himself from the secular thoughts, ulechaven libo l'shamayim, and to go ahead and direct his head direct his heart to heaven. Rabotai, I want to just show you something before we continue. Hagaon Harav Chaim Volozhin is saying something powerful. A person who is typically sunk in business or in thoughts of business, it's very hard for him to say Shema, and Shema actually has to go and he has to exert himself to push away those thoughts to be able to say Shema with Kavanah, to be able to daven Shema Esther with Kavanah. But he has to push them away. It just shows you, Rabotai, how far he is away from Hashem. He's pushing away mundane, Rabotai, secular matters. He's pushing that away just to come and think about Shema and Shema Esrei. Mikan, he says, from this it follows, She'im anu omrim shu patur mikri Shema. When now, imagine that this guy, he's the Chatan. If we're going to say now that he's patur from Kriya Shema, right? Chatan patur mikri Shema, it's not implied from over here that like we are taking something away from him. It's not implied. Ela rather, what does this imply when we say patur mikri Shema? Ela she'en mechayvim oto likayem davar. Rather, we're not obligating him to go ahead and fulfill something. Meaning to say, at the time when he's occupied with the mitzvah, when he's occupied with the mitzvah, we're not going to go ahead and we're not going to make him obligated with another mitzvah of Kriya Shema. Meaning the guy, he has to go, he has to fulfill the mitzvah of being with his wife the first night. Since he's preoccupied with that mitzvah, we're not going to go ahead and make him obligated in the mitzvah of Kriya Shema. Shika balat on Shema, which is accepting the yoke of kingdom on himself. Aval, however, go the other way, Rabotai. Kigon Ram Gamliel. But if you take, for example, Ram Gamliel, Shehu Natun Kulo Be'ol Avodat Hashem. Ram Gamliel, he was preoccupied, his whole being was with the yoke of Avodat Hashem. And his whole being was only Hashem. Every matter that he did was only things that had to do with Kiddush, only with holiness, Torah, mitzvot. He only knew Hashem. Lo kasha l'shitcharem mimachshavot hakodesh. To him, it's hard to be able to go ahead and detach himself from holy matters. Afilu b'makom she'asur lehareh b'dvarim shebekdusha kigon b'merchat. Even in a place where you're not allowed to go ahead and think about Torah thoughts like in a bathhouse, it's hard for him. He can't. He's even there. It's hard. Meaning, Rabbi Gamliel was always so shakur. He was fully sunk in kedusha that his whole being was Hashem, Torah, Hashem, Torah. That's all he knew. To take that away from him, it's hard. He couldn't push that away because his whole being was immersed in the Torah. Umikan, and from here it's going to follow. Shilagabav, when it comes to Ram Gamliel, when it says we're patur mikriyat Shema, that he's patur from Kriya Shema, mashma'ol livatel mimenu o malchut shamayim. The implication is from him you are actually going ahead and you are nullifying, you are taking away from him o malchut shamayim. Shehu natun b'tamid, because he was constantly immersed in it. He was constantly preoccupied. V'zehu shamar letalmidav, and this is what he told his students. Eini shomea lechem levatel mimeni malchut shamayim afilu sha'achat. That's why he answered them that answer. I'm not going to listen to you that you should go ahead and take away from me the yoke of heaven even for one moment. Rabotai, what does it mean levatel mimeni? Who's doing beetle over here? Why would you take anything away from him? Because from Gamliel, he was fully immersed in Kiddusha, in Torah, in Hashem. So by you telling him, go ahead, that you're part from Kriya Shema, now you're really nullifying him in something which he was really immersed prior to all this. That's what he said. Eini shomeya lechem, I will not listen to you, levatel mimeni, to nullify from me, malchut shamayim afilu sha'achat, the yoke of heaven even for one moment. He says, mipi maran hari untermen, shlita uzatzal, I don't know, he has both, maybe he already passed away afterwards. And anyway, Rabotai, we see from over here, by a regular person, when you say patur mikri shema balad rishon, Good, you're not taking anything away from him. Because like that, he doesn't think about it. To tell him to go say Shema and daven Shema Esrei, he has to focus on to push away worldly matters. He can't do it normally. So good, so you're not really obligating. Or then you can tell him, you're part from Kriya Shema, okay. But to tell Ram Gamliel you're part from Kriya Shema, you are actually taking something away from him where he's fully sunk in Kedusha and Tahora and Torah and Hashem. And anyway, Rabotai, let's just do the Mishnah on top, and with this we do conclude. Chatan patur mikri Shema balayla harishon. The Chatan, he is exempt from reciting Kriya Shema on the first night of his wedding. Ad Moti Shabbat, until Saturday night. Im lo asa maseh. That's as long as he did not do the act of having relations with his wife. We're going to tell him he has 4 nights. And he's exempt from Kriya Shema. We show that there's an argument. Some say only the night Shema. Some say no, even the morning Shema he's going to be exempt. Maaseh Ram Gamliel shekara balayla harishon shadasa. There was a story with Ram Gamliel that he read the Kriya Shema on the first night of his marriage. When he got married, Amr lo Talmid of his students said to Ram Gamliel, Lo limidatanu Rabbeinu, didn't you teach us shechatan patur mikriya Shema balayla harishon, that a chatan, he is exempt from reciting the Kriya Shema on the first night of marriage? Amr lahem, he said to them, Eini shomei lechem levatel memeni malchut shamayim. Look at the answer he gave them. I will not listen to you to take away from me the malchut shamayim, the yoke of heaven, afilu sha'a achat, even one moment. What does it mean, levatel memeni? What do you mean you're taking away something from him? Because he was fully immersed in Hashem, fully immersed in Torah, fully immersed in Kedusha and Torah. So when you're telling him not to do it, you're really taking something away. That's what he said, I'm not going to listen to you because you are taking something away from me. You're taking all Malchut Shamayim from me. Even for one moment, I'm not going to allow you guys to do that. In any event, Rabotai, have a great day. Baruch Adonai Olam. Amen. Amen.